MLS expansion should not happen. Yes, I know we've covered this topic at the Touchback, but it really bears repeating. The league would be better off with promotion and relegation. Contraction is also another perfectly solid option. Really, anything would be better than having 150 teams play in a single league table. Of course, logic and reason go out the window when money is involved. If the MLS must expand, and mark my words, it should not expand at all, like no reason for it to expand. But if it must, Don Garber and friends should think outside of the box for its next franchises. Like really, really, really far outside of the box. Let's get done with it, okay? And in that spirit, here are 4 totally ridiculous, outside of the box MLS expansion ideas that would definitely be a little better than, I don't know, putting a team in the middle of the desert for a league that plays in the summer. Chivas USA was always going to fail. The club's owner, the late Jorge Vergara, made his money in a pyramid scheme and was basically looking to set up something similar in the world of soccer. It's why he purchased both an MLS franchise and a team in Costa Rica. However, the entire operation never really gained much traction over the years. This brings us to the present day. We know the MLS has always wanted to gain a foothold into Mexico, and there is no better way to do that than relaunching the Chivas USA franchise and placing them south of the border. It's a great idea because you already have a pre-existing fan base and a ton of brand recognition. Some of you were probably wondering, wouldn't this violate some sort of intellectual property or copyright laws? And I counter that by asking you, have you ever been to Mexico? Because neither are particularly strictly enforced. And I mean, the team's name is different. We're talking about, this is Chivas USA Mexico, not Chivas USA. It's totally different. So let's be real, it's not the MLS's problem if fans just call them Chivas or there's some sort of confusion. I mean, the league would have done its part to ensure it was a totally different franchise, and we're saying Chivas USA Mexico. And I know some of you are saying that's a pretty dumb idea, and really, is it any dumber than the original concept behind Chivas USA in the first place? Yes, I know the Houston Dynamo already exists, but they should move, because this is all about creating a legacy for the former San Jose Earthquake franchise. And that legacy is being a team that moves every 10 to 20 years, forcing the MLS to expand back into an old market. Across the league, you will just have these respawned franchises based on this one team continually moving over the years. The best thing about this is that it creates instant rivalries. I mean, people in San Jose still kind of hate the Houston Dynamo, and that happened like more than 20 years ago at this point. So if you're gonna do it, at least this expansion would help create rivalries and add a little more flavor into the MLS. The bulk of MLS expansion teams to have entered the league over the past decade or so are completely forgettable. Nashville SC, Austin FC, and Minnesota United are freaking boring. Inter Miami is a joke. Cincinnati FC gives us pretty strong Charlotte Bobcat vibes at this point. I mean, none of these teams need to exist. Not only that, a lot of them are just greeted by indifference from the existing MLS fan base. ProChoice Gun Control FC will inspire a completely different reaction than what those franchises have garnered over the years. The club won't have a home and will instead play in deeply conservative areas of the United States. Think Florida Panhandle, the Ozarks, Boise, Idaho, and other locations filled with mouth-breathing, quasi-racists who shell out money on whatever crap is being peddled during Tucker Carlson. That last point is the important thing here. This group of people, for whatever reason, would spend a ton of money to go and boo and hiss at a franchise championing basic human rights. Funds raised during the club's home games can then be used to support those causes. Here's the deal. A club promoting reproductive rights and gun control would get a nuclear reaction in Middle America. Like, we're talking Sergeant Slaughter disowning America and becoming an Iraqi sympathizer level of heat there. It would be awesome just to see. On the flip side, when the club would go on the road to Portland, Seattle, New York, and other places where people have passports and some level of education, it would receive a hero's welcome. A team bilking conservatives out of money to support worthy causes? You can definitely sign me up for that, please. Putting a team in Vancouver, Washington has nothing to do with the actual city in this case, because Vancouver, Washington is one of the most meh places you'll ever go to in your life. Located directly north of Portland across the Columbia River, the only reason to really stop in Vancouver, Washington is because it has a Burgerville. I'm going to take a quick 20-second time out to spend a moment here to talk about Burgerville. I'm from California, and everyone always talks about In-N-Out being this like massively delicious, great burger fast food restaurant, and it sucks compared to Burgerville. Burgerville is so much better than In-N-Out Burger, and yet it doesn't get nearly the amount of credit it deserves. If you're in the Northwest, or even if you're not, go to find a Burgerville and get yourself a blackberry milkshake, because it's freaking wonderful. But enough of that. We're back to the MLS expansion. The location of Vancouver, Washington has nothing to do with why it should be a candidate for MLS expansion. It's really all about the name, because as you are all going to know, the MLS already has a Vancouver franchise, although that one is in Vancouver, British Columbia. So what's going to happen here is when the Vancouver, Washington franchise comes into the league, essentially the MLS should scrub anything that could be used to identify either of the Vancouver franchises. So we're talking about the MLS basically only listing Vancouver and one of those placeholder logos on its schedules and tables, and really it should be impossible for a team to know what Vancouver is different from the other Vancouver. This will also be extended to the teams the Vancouver franchises are supposed to play on a weekly basis. At the end of the day, the goal here is to ensure opposing teams never have any idea of what Vancouver team they are going to play if they have that on the schedule for that week. So if a club was at home and slated to face one of the Vancouver franchises, they would never know which one it would be until they showed up on the field before the start of the match. And if they have a road match against one, well, the club has to guess which Vancouver they're playing in and go there. Imagine the scenes as a team takes the pitch in the Vancouver they selected and are just waiting anxiously, looking down the tunnel and hoping that they have picked the right location for their game that week. And of course, if they are wrong, they automatically lose. Even if the club picked the wrong Vancouver to go to and they were handed the automatic L, that would be significantly more entertaining than those terrible day games the MLS used to make FC Dallas play way back when. MLS, just give us the promotion and relegation all of us fans want. And if you don't do that, then how about a little contraction, because that would be okay with most of us as well. However, if you're going to expand, and we all know you're going to expand, why not just get ridiculous with it? I mean, you're gonna have like 39 teams anyway. Let's just make it as dumb as possible, because it is really dumb for you to have so many freaking teams in your league. Anyway, that does it for me. I'm Cheyenne Hollis. This is the Touchback. Let us know what stupid ass place you would put your MLS franchise at, and until next time, be sure you hashtag take it out to the 25.